Welcome. I want to thank Sean and Jeff and the great team here at the arena for hosting our meeting today. We always are grateful and appreciative. As we always do at the beginning of our meeting, we want to point out that the appeals process for decisions made by the Sports Authority is listed at the top of the published agenda and on the Sports Authority website. We want to recognize a new board member this morning. We have two new board members, but one could not be here because after his appointment he already had a schedule, so Marcus Curry could not be here. But we do have Bob Obrata. Bob, we welcome you and glad to have you with us. And this, you can always feel free to talk and discuss any item we have on our agenda and so forth. We welcome you. These have been appointed and confirmed, and this completes our board, and we have, I think, all of our vacancies filled, right, Toby? We don't have any open now, and we're pleased to that. Marcus represents the 6th School District and is the general manager of the Richland Country Club, and he replaces Alfonso, who moved out of Davidson County, I think into Williamson County, so he left us. And then Bob will be representing the 7th School District, and he's Executive Director of the Tennessee College Access and Success Network, and he replaces Helen Walker on our board. So welcome, Bob. I want to mention publicly the appreciation that the board and staff has for the work that was done by Alfonso and Helen. They were both great members. They were good members and served the city well on the Sports Authority. And if you see them, thank them for having served with us and working with us. Okay, the first item official on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the January 16th, 2014 board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second for approval. All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, approved. Well, we come down to a very important thing that happened in our city just recently. Margaret, has been extremely busy. I think she probably had to leave her law practice for a few weeks there to work and direct this, and I thought it was very outstanding. I was able to be here, and I want you to know, Margaret, I tried to talk to a number of the people from out of state, and I said, what's your experience in Nashville? And they said it was great. Everybody was nice, and they didn't have anything to say but positive things. So I want to recognize Margaret, Kim, Kathy, and Monica for the work they done, and let Margaret then talk about the Final Four.
So how long do I have?
We're okay. Take off.
Well, we had a championship luncheon on Tuesday before the Tuesday night game, and the vice president of women's basketball for the NCAA said Nashville hosted the best women's Final Four ever held, which was pretty special because there were cities in the room who were there who were bidding to host down the road, and there's cities that were there in the past. So the mayor, accepted it. So that they wanted us back, but we still are going through a process, and hopefully we will get a bid in the 2017-2020 range. But Nashville was a real winner. Nashville really showed off. Gary Alexander, who was at our meeting last month, you all met him, and he was called by the NCAA Amazing Grace, which I think describes him for those of you all who know him very well. He was the glue and the one who really made it happen. So we're so proud of Nashville, but I would really like to say some things about the Sports Authority and its involvement. I have to say that Sean Henry and his team were just amazing, and I got to see firsthand what they do. Cher was here Wednesday night before the Final Four, and at 6 a.m. I came to the arena to do some TV broadcast about the Pat Summit exhibit and also the logo that was going down on the floor. So I was here watching what you can see right now with Bruce Springsteen pinning up the floor there, and watching these crews that early in the morning make this place look so great. And of course, the floor was just spectacular. I mean, it had Music City on it. The NCAA had never approved a logo that had anything other than the city's name, so having Music City was something that was really special for us. And then, so I was watching Music City go on the foul line as I was there, and I was just going, this is just, this was amazing. I was jumping out of my skin with excitement, looking at how, and then when I watched the men's game, and I have to say that, you know, and saw the floor in the men's game versus what we had in the women's game, I was going, this is just, this floor, and what it says about Nashville, this looks terrific. And, you know, we had a lot of folks coming back and forth from Dallas to Nashville, you know, commissioners, NCAA folks. They were so struck by how great our airport looked and how tight, our tight campus, you know, how easy it was to get around in Nashville. That you just got here, there's so much to do in Nashville, and whereas in Dallas they were going 45 minutes in traffic to get to the airport, to the hotels, then 45 more minutes to get to the arena. So I think it was a great contrast for Nashville. Not only were we all decked out and enthusiastic, but it was a great way to show what a great sports city we are. But the arena just sparkled. It wasn't just the floor. It was everything else about the arena. You know, there were lines for autographs for the players that went all the way around the arena, and people stood in the arena, loved it. You know, you could tell it was clean, it was fun, it was upbeat. It was decorated so well, and you know, there's a lot of NCAA requirements about how to decorate the arena, and I really appreciate, Sean, all of those specifications you have to go through to satisfy those requirements, and it's a lot, and it takes a lot of patience and perseverance on everybody's part to make it happen in such a short period of time. So really a lot of kudos. I was proud to be a Sports Authority member for the way the arena looked and the way the management dealt with all of the facets of it. So thank you very much. And then one of the most fun things about the weekend was Super Saturday, and it was really super. Everything was free. And so my favorite part was the basketball bounce, where kids 18 and under got a great looking basketball, great t-shirt, and they were outside the arena in between the Music City Center and the arena. We went around the arena into the Music City Center. And one of the best things about Super Saturday was the free parking at LP Field, because in promoting that event, whether it was going to Turning Town or the 9,000 people who went to practices, 28,000 people went to Turning Town over 3 days, or the 4K run, we were able to promote that there's free parking downtown. You park at LP Field, those shuttles, you can go over the bridge. And that was huge. I think that really contributed to a lot of the fan excitement and the feeling that, yes, we can come downtown, we can take advantage of the Final Four, and it'll be free. Mm-hmm. And I know where I'm going to park, and I know where the kids are going to be, and it was really great. So I just want to particularly thank the Sports Authority, parking, and all the support of the members, and especially the arena for making a great tournament. So thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Let's give Margaret a hand for her direction. Anybody else have a comment? Any others? Okay, we'll move right on with our Executive Director's report. Toby's been busy.
I hope so. I think so.
Okay, Toby.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So a couple of quick dates to get in front of the board. The State of Metro address, all the board is welcome to attend, will be April 30th at 10 a.m. It will take place downtown on Rolling Mill Hill. I don't have the exact location on Rolling Mill Hill. I'll get that back out to the board, but I just would like to throw them out there. The State of Metro has been a really nice, well-done event for several years, and anybody that'd like to attend, it'd be great. The second date to put in front of you is our council budget hearing, which will take place on June 5th at 5:15 in the Metro Council chambers. We had a successful meeting with the mayor when we presented the budget that you approved at last month's board meeting, and now we've been given this date. It's the annual time when we go and we kind of speak to the council members and the Budget and Finance Committee. Rip will certainly remember doing these meetings in the past, but it's an occasion where we go and present our budget, and we get to talk about the many good things that we've done this year, including the Women's Final Four, amongst other things. And so those are two dates to get in front of you. Before I go over the agenda and kind of work through a couple of quick things, also I want to give an update on the baseball construction and the ice hockey facility construction. Today, we just kind of, to make the agenda a little smoother, we just kind of skipped those updates. So we'll start with the ice hockey facility. Things continue to go well. We have monthly OAC meetings, and Jeff Kogan from Predators and other people are there. We have a nice team of people. Things are going well. Things are on budget. Things are on track. At the moment, they are pouring right now the concrete slabs for the front of the house and the tenant space. The refrigeration units are in to kind of cool the ice. They've been roughed in. A lot of the superstructure is up, and the roof is largely in place. So it's our hope that probably in the latter part of May, we'll pick out a date where the Sports Authority and others can go through the facility, and you'll actually begin to see what this thing looks like. And it's looking good, but up until now, it's been just kind of in pieces and parts. So we're still on track for an October delivery date, and that's when the campus will open with the library, the park, and the community center. Baseball, wow, it's been nonstop. The Gobble Hayes partners behind my report in your packets there, they've provided you a brief update with a couple things. But basically, excavation is now complete at the site. The codes department told me they have just this week issued the building permit to allow for the foundations to be placed. So the foundations and caissons will start this week and the beginning of next. The Embry development, the site closest to Jefferson Street, has been fenced off, and they're beginning the private work in that area. I think people were aware that in the news there was some archaeological findings. It was a fairly small area at the site. Nothing related to human remains or graves were found. It was animal bones, shells, and pottery. It was very fascinating. The memo to you guys from Gobble Hayes outlined some of that, but it was an interesting find. But we had the team in place, the archaeologist. Our project archaeologist immediately called things to a halt. We were able to work through that quickly with the state and the state archaeologist. The state archaeologist has the findings. They'll study those for a bit, and ultimately they'll come back to Metro. So that project remains on track, and we've been talking about April 15th, which was just this week, so we're talking right now under a year for that delivery, so we're excited. And unfortunately, the Sounds had some obligations today, and they couldn't be here. One more note before we get to the agenda for today. Monica couldn't be here today because we have had many speaking engagements pop up. So she is presenting this morning to Leadership Middle Tennessee. So she's in Hendersonville doing a presentation to a group of Middle Tennessee's finest folks, and it's a very sports-specific panel that she's participating in. So she's up there, and I'm sure she's doing a great job. In your packet this morning, as we proceed forward, we have in tab 3 of your packet, it's a brief one-page description of the CMA Music Festival parking contract. This is related to the expenses that will be incurred, and we simply have to approve that. In tab 4, we have the LP Field and Titans report, as well as the capital expenses reimbursement. And then in tab 5, we have the Bridgestone Arena report, and you also have the floor plan for the hospitality area build out. So those are the kind of the 3 big things that we need to tackle today. And Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay. Any questions anyone has of Toby? Okay. The next item, as you'll see on our agenda, is the CMA Fan Fest parking contract. And we have representatives here. Velma, are you here from the CMA to talk to us about this contract? And we will be asking for approval when we finish.
Good morning. Thank you for granting us the opportunity to present. As you guys know, our CMA Fest is right around the corner, and it takes a little bit of a village to put on those 4 days, and now it's more like a week, really. According to our contract, of course, we split the proceeds of the parking at LP amongst ourselves and LP Field after all expenses. These are expenses that I'm quite new, actually. Today's my 2-year anniversary. And we weren't aware of exactly how to present additional expenses prior. So we learned this last year, and hence we're here. There's about 7,500 parking spaces at LP. And as you can imagine, we have a different group of people that actually come every day. So total, we have to have about 12,000 or so hang tags printed. Each lot is designated as either a 4-day lot, so if we have like our production team parks there, it's a 4-day. Where the artist and the artist entourages park, that's a daily, because those people change every day. So each lot is divided by if we needed a 4-day parking pass or a daily parking pass attached to that lot. So once we go through all those, we need about 44 different kinds of hang tags that we use throughout the festival. So the printing of those is about $4,161, and then we pre-ship all the pre-sold ones, which is about 4,000 of them. And that is about 2,557. They're shipped actually out of our box office here in the arena. And then we also have an administrator, because as you can imagine, somebody has to assign all this. And her name is Terry Aldridge, and she does, we hire her, and she's actually on board already. She starts in April all the way through mid-June. And we pay her $5,000. So the total expenses that we're requesting to share with LP in the Sports Authority is $11,718.35.
Okay, let's open up for questions. Toby, you have something?
Yeah, very quickly, just so the Sports Authority knows. So we have a 5-year agreement here. This is the beginning of the 3rd year. The request that's being made today isn't out of line with the previous 2 years. These are expenses that we know. We'll split these expenses 25%. So the revenue share is 50% CMA, 25% Titans, 25% Sports Authority. But just to understand, once we get done with that, last year we netted $55,494. And they anticipate increased revenue this year.
I move approval.
Motion is made and second approval. Discussion. If not, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Then it's approved. Thank you, Velma. Let me ask also, was Chris Crawford with you this morning?
I haven't seen him.
Okay. I wanted to recognize him if he was, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, he didn't make it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well, we have on our agenda next Tennessee Titans and LP Field report. Walter, come on back up and give us a report. You've got some things for us this morning, I know.
I do. Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope that all of you received our report, periodic reports in discussion. Okay.
It's always the thickest report for our new members, but it's not as thick as it used to be. That's all I can say.
We usually start with our calendar of events at LP Field. That's tab 1. Just to mention some events that will be coming up is our our Country Music Marathon, which will be April 26th. The Mayor's Field Day will be May the 3rd. Our Draft Day event is May the 8th. And our Good Guys Hot Rod event is 516. Also, our preseason schedule has come out. We don't know the exact date, but I believe that we'll be playing the first Saturday in August, and the last scheduled game in August at home. We'll have 2 open dates, and that is primarily for the One Direction concert that will be at LP Field. We do know the teams that we will be playing at home, but we do not know the dates. So that will be forthcoming at any time. Is that correct, Don? Thank you. All right. Tab 2 is our LP Field casualty and damage loss. For some of the new members, the casualty loss is covered by Metro Insurance. You look at tab 2 and you'll see that since our last meeting, it has grown slightly. We had a freeze damage back in January, and we continue to work on that. We're still receiving some invoices on that particular project, so once we get all those invoices, and we have submitted all those that we received to Metro Insurance, and then we will ask for reimbursement. Tab 3 is our ticket user fee. It is in which the bonds were issued for the improvements and upgrades at LP Field, and this ticket user fee fund, which is shown in tab 3, shows up to date just what the amounts are in that particular fund. And any ticketed event in the stadium, other than TSU, is charged a $2 or $3 ticket fee that's used to pay for the debt service that the bonds were created. Tab 4 is our capital bond balance, which our current balance in Metro's capital bond is slightly more than $1.1 million. That is where in our tab 7, that's where we will discuss the funds, the requestment of our debt that we have incurred. We're asking for reimbursement. We'll discuss that when we get to tab 7. The unfiled reimbursement requests are those projects that we have not requested or sought reimbursement. These projects are ongoing. Most of them, some were started 2-3 years ago, and we're still working on some of them. Actually, when J.D. mentioned about not having a large booklet as we used to, we've really done an excellent job of condensing our report and bringing all of our reimbursement requests up to date. So that's been important. That makes it easy for you guys, makes it easy for us to interpret just what's going on with our reimbursement. Tab 6 is our capital expense items and charge of pending projects, which we try to keep this up to date. There are projects that are ongoing. There are projects that we're trying to develop scopes for. So we want you to be informed exactly what projects are being worked on at LP Field. Tab 7 is our reimbursement request. And Toby, if that's okay with you, it leads me into the next item on the agenda, which is our reimbursement request. I think you have that in front of you.
Let me just stop and see, Walter, if anybody on your other report, does any member have a question before we go into item on the agenda number 7? Really, number 8, I should say. Item number 8. Okay, move on.
Thank you. Reimbursement requests are grouped into the various projects. We have some that have lasted, as I said earlier, some have lasted 2 or 3 years. We have met with Metro, met with Toby, met with Margaret, Bob Blackie, myself, Janine, Dempsey to make sure that each of the requests follows the stadium lease agreement. We spent hours in trying to make sure that those requests are in the agreement and that they do qualify for reimbursement. Are there any questions?
Okay, Toby, you have any comments?
Just a quick couple of comments. So what we're looking at now is a sheet that's had 100 capital projects on it. It's clustered, it totals $2,042,778.59. Margaret and I and Bob Lucky, along with all sat down and looked at the list and asked for all information. We're very comfortable with all the projects that are listed. We propose that we move forward with that, just so the board understands how are we paying for this. There's two buckets that we're pulling money from for a total of $2 million. The first bucket is the stadium capital fund, where we contribute $1 million a year for the upkeep of the facility. The second piece is really is the remaining bond money from 2012 fan enhancements. So the team did a fantastic job in saving money and making sure they ran that project efficiently. At the end of the day, we had some leftover proceeds, and what we're proposing is using those proceeds up to try to get the reimbursement requests more up to date. And so that's the other $1.1 million for the request. So I just want to make sure the board understands where that's coming from and be really transparent about that. Again, we fully agree that this $2 million is the correct amount, and we also feel comfortable with all of the projects that we have.
Ralph, you've been, I think, in touch with them on this too. You have any comments?
Well, not lately, I haven't, but I agree with Toby's assessment.
I have a question.
Okay.
Is there any more money left in the bond fund? In the other bucket, the bond bucket?
No, a minimal amount would be left over.
I mean, like,
Not a substantial amount.
Emmett?
Just a quick one. Margaret mentioned requirements from the sponsoring authority, say like with the tournament, and we have things on here like the incident command center or wireless access points. Are those being done as because you're requested by the NFL, or is this just something that we need to upgrade our facilities to make sure that we're on top of it?
I think the answer to that question is it's both. The NFL and other entities like TSU, the Music City Bowl, or the Vanderbilt Ole Miss game that will be played this coming September, they all use that particular equipment. We have to have the police command center to make sure that everybody is safe.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move
Yes.
to approve.
Okay, the motion's made to approve this request, the allocation to the Titans for the reimbursement of the capital expenses. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, further discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Then, Walter, we have approved.
Thank you.
Thank you for the work, because this has been going on for a while, trying to get this up and get
Yes,
it
sir.
done. We
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
appreciate what you've done. I know Toby's worked diligently on it also from our staff, so. Okay, wonder who's next? The Predators, Bridgestone Arena report. Sean Henry.
Good morning.
Good morning. We missed you at the last meeting, but
I'll tell you what, I had a comment on the last meeting. I've been to, I think, 42 consecutive meetings. You know, I'm basically the Lou Gehrig of this room, except for Coach. And I sent Jeff Kogan to one meeting, just one meeting. And when did you ever hear me deliver bad news? It's not, I don't do it. And Kogan came here and just killed us, didn't he? Wish he was in the room now, you know, just to hear it. You know, so I do apologize for missing. Toby said it was okay. He said he'd move the meeting, then he lied to me because I guess he wanted to hear Jeff. See if he can replicate some positive things to say out of a couple of bad months. But first, I just want to say thank you, Margaret. Very kind things you said about us. More importantly, thank you, for what you did as a chairman. We have Michelle Kennedy in the back as well, who I think is the only executive vice president for a team and building that hosted the event that also played in the Final Four. I know she's going to say she didn't play in it. She played in the Sweet 16. But everyone here thinks you're younger than you are, and you're on the team the year after. But
Michelle, stand up so for some of them may not know who you are, and let them see.
But as you said, it was a great event. It was a great event because really what this board did, what the Sports Council did, and there are so many people that were part of it that the NCAA woke up and realized this was a special place, it was a special event, and even better than that, when they decided to come here, I don't know how you convinced them to do so, because I was bidding against you when I was in Tampa, and we were laughing because Nashville was bidding on it. You don't have a convention center, you don't have a real key hotel besides the ones that were here, and it's not going to happen, and we were just laughing. They're not going to believe you were going to build a convention center, but somehow they did, and it all came together in a way that was just perfect in reality. The weather, things we couldn't control worked, and that's what made it even better. So, thank you for what you did. Look forward to, I think we're getting together next week to see how we can secure them in the future, because it is a great event. When you look at what we're doing with, we have 12 straight SEC basketball tournaments coming up, 9 men and 3 women, for us to be able to pod a few more women's Final Fours in there, maybe another first and second round or second and third round of the men's NCAA event. It really shows what we can do as a city. So again, thank you. And more importantly, you're thanking me. I really didn't do anything except show up and apologize to Emmett for his tickets not working when he came here. But there are guys sitting behind me, David Kales, David Chadwell, Kyle Clayton, and Jeremy Merriweather, who really are the reason that things look so good. Because I wasn't here at 6 a.m. putting that floor down after share, but they were. So from a month standpoint, when you look at February financials that I think you all received, you know what I'm going to say. Unlike Kogan, it was a great month. It was a month we needed to really get us back on track to pace ahead of the budget, ahead of last year. You have the normal dip that you take in January, but February was absolutely incredible. When you look at it, revenue month over month, from the year before, revenue was up over 29%. Bottom line, over 59% better. For the year, with that strong month, our revenue is up over 50% over our record year. The best year we ever had was last year. Revenue year to date is up over 50%. Bottom line is up over 7%. So again, it's another really nice year that we're having. We're beating the most aggressive budget we've ever had in venue history. So, things are really, really nice. From an event standpoint, we had 9 events. We only had 2 hockey games because of the Olympic break, but I think it's the first time I've ever worked in a building where every event that month was sold out. Both games were sold out, and then the 7 concerts that we had, or events we had, were sold out, including a brand new show. We had 3 Disney shows in one day, all 3 sold out. Obviously, we had Keith Urban, Kings of Leon, Brad Paisley, and Imagine Dragons, all sold out. What's really exciting about that, what I just rolled through, was Kings of Leon toured again, which is fun for us. But even more importantly, Imagine Dragons is a show that played in this city, I think, 3 times in 18 months, roughly. They played at Fontenelle, at the Ryman, and now they played the big building. And when we booked it, we were hoping that it would be 10,000 people, a real strong show, but they sold it out. What's encouraging is there are more and more acts that are just coming out that are starting to sell out again. And the one thing David wrestles with every day is, who's the next U2? That's all you ever hear in our industry. Well, there are a lot of acts right out there right now that are going to allow us to continue the stretch we're on. And in 25 years, we're going to say, and Imagine Dragons is hosting their last show ever, in this building again. So again, we're in a nice cycle on that front. March, I think it was the busiest March we've ever had without the SEC. Tournament. It was absolutely great. April, tremendous. When you look at the shows that we had in those 2 months we're enjoying right now, George Strait, Demi Lovato, WWE, Cher, Champions Tennis, which was a fun little different event, Winter Jam, Women's Final Four, obviously, Springsteen tonight, Miley Cyrus Friday night or tomorrow night. It's just been a nice cycle. Yesterday we made a little news, and I know our friends across the river stole one of the English bands, but we have the original English legend coming with Paul McCartney. So let's make that arena show next year, guys. But it really is a nice bookend, from the first English invasion to the last one, straddling both sides. So we said during the Billy Joel concert or press conference in January that 2014 was going to be an exceptional year for legends coming. It was covered pretty well today in the Tennessean, from Cher to Bruce Springsteen to Billy Joel to Justin Timberlake coming back to obviously Paul McCartney. It really is just going to be that. The challenge for David Kell sitting back there is how does he make next fiscal year beat this year? We're well on the path right now. We have 37 events confirmed already. That's the most we've ever had confirmed at this date. Of those 37, probably 25 of those are going to sell out. So it's something we're very excited about. So from a financial standpoint, things couldn't be better for the venue, though we're going to drive them to be better. If you have any questions on financials for February, I'd love to answer them.
Anybody have any questions about the financials?
If not, I want to bring up an opportunity to just say thank you to Barry Trotz. As you know, on Monday, we didn't extend his contract. One of the hardest things that David Poyle in his 35-year career as a GM had to do. David hired him 16 years ago as an unproven coach, came from the AHL. They both were with the Capitals organization in their past. Came in here, and as he said, he came in here, he figured he'd coach maybe half a season, maybe one. If he was really lucky, he'd get to 1.5 years. The joke is he was picking out the carpeting, and he was taking forever. He kept having them come back with more and more samples, and David said to him, "What are you doing? That carpeting's going to outlast you. Get out of here." And I think he replaced that carpeting about 5 times. So truly, this organization would not be what we are today if it weren't for Barry Trotz. He introduced hockey to a city. J.R. Lynn wrote a really nice article the other day about what Barry means to the Nashville Predators and really to Southern hockey, non-traditional hockey. The record for a new coach for an expansion team was held by Terry Crisp with Tampa Bay Lightning, and that was, I think, 6 years. The fact that Barry, 2.5 times increased that tenure is incredible. 180 coaches were fired from the time Barry was hired, and we couldn't be more grateful to him. It's a very hard thing. It's not the season that we wanted. Last year was not the season we wanted. With that said, that blame doesn't fall on Barry's head. All of us are responsible, from our players to our GM to our business operations. And if you have an opportunity to see him around town, you should thank him. This is home for him, but there's no doubt we're going to see Barry next year coaching against us. And that's a scary thought when you think about it. I mean, he's one of the most respected coaches in the entire league, and he'll be coaching again. But for us, it's time to build upon what he delivered to us, and whoever the next coach is going to be has an opportunity to be more successful than Barry because of what Barry built. And that's the legacy that he's going to leave behind, above and beyond even all the things he's done in the community. So again, if you see him around, and he may walk in right now, he has a penchant to do that, please thank him, because this team's probably not here still if it weren't for Barry Trotz and his successes. Thank you. So,
Thank you,
Toby? Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Sean. You want to go ahead with the next item on the agenda and talk about the hospitality build-out?
Yep, this is the hospitality event space. We've been talking about this now for about 18 months. I think that's when Populous came in, and remember we commissioned them to do a visioning study of the venue of, if they had unlimited dollars, what would we do? From that exercise, we started channeling it down to, okay, here are the steps that we need to take to not just continue this building to improve, but to put us on the same path of the buildings that we compete with virtually day in and day out. And over the past 4 years, we've taken this building from the 30th ranked building, busiest building in the country, to top 10 building virtually every year. Last year, I think we finished 5th or 6th. Through the first quarter of this year, we're in the top 10 again, and it's astonishing. But the reason for it, we guarantee sellouts. We combine our sales and marketing staff. The other is, the vision that you all have when we created the Capital Improvement Fund to keep the building not just maintained where we want it, but keep it modern. A building should last a lot longer than 30 years, but while we're lasting 30 years, you don't want to start falling off in what you can do. And the enhancements that we've brought over the past few years are incredible. This space, as we've talked about in the past and past few meetings too, will enable us to really compete with every other building that's out there that we're currently beating right now, but we're really missing that unique creative hospitality space on the ground floor. We built the first one of its kind in Tampa about 9 years ago, and what it did for us, it allowed us to anchor the Republican National Convention, the Women's Final Four, the ACC tournament, the SEC tournament. And granted, they only had one of each of those. We have a few more. But this space is needed for us. We're going to be able to use it in a unique fashion for all of our concerts. We're going to be able to use it for the next Women's Final Four, for the SEC tournaments. That real unique experience that we can deliver to their guests, to our clients. When you look at the plans that we have, you'll see in the back of the space something called the green room and executive lounge. Those are exactly what we want them to be. It won't always be the case, but ideally the star performer will actually use that green room and exit through this space, making it pretty neat. From an executive lounge standpoint, we want our partners, our managers of the tours, the agents, whatever it may be, to use this space to feel a little spoiled. Madison Square Garden, it's funny, every promoter has their own dressing room, if you will. No one else uses it. They're the only ones with the keys to it. We don't have that luxury, obviously, but this allows us to spoil them to some degree. But then the rest of the space, you can see how it's going to be interactive with everything we do. The performers will literally walk onto stage almost through this club for about half of our events. All of our hockey games, our players will walk through this space to get onto the ice. They'll leave the ice at the end of the game through this space. So we can really deliver something that we can't right now. What I'm excited about it in reality, though, is the other events that we can do. When we do bids, as Margaret knows, people, they want to know our breakout space, our hospitality space. It's almost more important than everything else we have. We're fortunate that we have the rehearsal hall, that right now we move the media rooms in there. We'll move the post-tour parties in there. Taylor Swift did a fan fest in there. Brad Paisley did a fan fest in there. The problem with that is when we do those huge events for them in that space, we can't use the rehearsal hall for a rehearsal hall. And what we use that for is to drive our other business. Now we can move those events and parties into this space as well. So we're excited about it. We've been softly pre-selling it, if you will, to our hockey base. We are probably 95% designed at this point right now. We sent out bids with the design drawings to, 9 or 10 contractors, got them back early this week. Our conference call tomorrow to discuss them. Obviously, they all came in over budget. This club is going to be at $2.5, $2.7 million all in. Our goal is to try to build a $6 million space event lounge for that budget. So we're going to get pretty creative. From Predator side, we'll end up probably trading some of our assets to help pad that budget to a degree. But we're excited about it. Ideally, we can start construction mid-May, pending your approval, and have it done the 1st of September, so we can, break it in with the Ed Sheeran concert. That is another really exciting act that we have coming out. Last year, he played to 3 sold-out events at Madison Square Garden, open for Taylor Swift, though, here, and now he's playing in our building, probably sell it out. So it'll be fun to welcome him into this building and have, his agency and his promoter have a party in there. So.
Okay,
Do you have any questions about the club?
Toby, you
Love
have
to
any
answer.
comments before we ask for a motion?
Yeah, a few quick comments. After this meeting, anyone that wants to go down and see this space at the event level is welcome to. And what you would see down there is a fairly Spartan space. It's functional for a couple of things right now, but it really can be maximal so much more.
It's storage space right now. I better make that clear. We have a dark room for a photographer. I don't think a dark room's been used in a couple, 2-3 years, ever since the whole digital thing came out. So we're repurposing a lot of space in our efforts of combining more and more. We have a backstage catering area. We have a media catering area. They're never used together on the same night, yet we have 2 separate areas. We'll combine that into one space, as we should, as we've done with every other facet of our business. So repurpose that area as well. So we're taking storage, some underutilized, rooms or offices, compressing some things, to create something bigger.
Yes.
So what we've done, we talked about this before about how do we approach this. So the partners have put this before us now for a couple of months. Bob Lackey, Rich Ripley, and I have met with Jeff and Sean both to review the plans and understand kind of how this fits in. We're very comfortable with this. I think it's probably really needed. As Sean said, it's a $2.5 million request. What we're doing is we're going to pay for this out of the fiscal year 15 SIP. And that amount, so the fiscal year 15 amount would be a minimum of $3.8 million.
That's available to us.
That would be available to us at a minimum of 3.8. So we're going to pull down all of that out of that draw, and I see really no reason to move forward with this.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the moving forward with the hospitality.
Motion for approval.
Okay. Motion's made and seconded. Any questions or comments?
I just have a question about just the availability to the public at large, obviously the fan base and when it's here, but I know sometimes the Patron Club is available, and what's your thoughts about just the public being able to use certain portions?
Well, as you know, whether it's these meeting rooms, the reason we couldn't move the sports council meeting here today is all these meeting rooms were booked. Patron Club is used probably, I don't know, 300 times a year, on non-event times, whether it be for meetings, Kiwanis Club, Rotary Club, weddings, reunions. This is basically the same thing. It gives us that ability to use it a little bit more often in a very unique fashion. The way it's being built, it's about a 10 to 12,000 square foot space. It'll be able to be sectioned off to a degree, but the strength of it is going to be the uniqueness of where it's potted. Now you can have a meeting right off of the ice. You can have a meeting right now and watch the Bruce Springsteen concert move in. Can't see sound check, but you can see things moved in. So our goal is obviously to populate it 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year.
That's a good question. Okay, any other questions? Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye. Great.
Opposed? Then it is approved.
All right, thank you all. And
Thank you.
next month, you thought, I brag a little bit, I know. I can't wait for next month's meeting because really the numbers from March are incredible. So thank you guys.
Great. And I would encourage any of you who want to see the area, it'll just take a few minutes to do it right after our meeting. And our meeting is not a long one this morning, and you may have the time to go down and see it. And I would encourage that. Sean will take you. And I want to, at this time, thank Sean and his team and Walter and Don and the team from LP Field. As you see this morning, we've been getting good material from them that we can know where we're going and the direction we're going and make decisions. And we appreciate both teams at both places for the good job you're doing. Okay, the next meeting is actually scheduled, wait.
Coach Temple.
Coach Temple,
Yeah, I would just like to say, add on to what Margaret said about the Final Four. I think that Sunday before the Final Four, the Tennesseans did an excellent job. I've never seen the Tennessean or any other people do so much about women's sports.
Yeah.
And it was really outstanding, and I would just like to comment and say that I thought they did an excellent job all through the tournament, but especially that Sunday. It was really great.
If I could just follow up, thanks, Coach. The Tennessean had never done both a digital and media display, like you mentioned, and
Yeah.
kudos to Dave Ammenheiser, who has been great. And of course, on Wednesday's headline was Title IX, and I went, oh my goodness. I mean, they so totally get it.
Yeah.
And but this digital, these videos of the people who were, the Elite Eight, were 8-minute videos, which is the first of its kind that they've ever done. So they've devoted a lot of resources to the game and to spotlighting women. So I'm so glad you mentioned that. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Okay, the next meeting is scheduled for, let me ask Toby. Toby, you got anything else to bring to our attention?
We're good.
Okay. The next meeting is May the 15th, but it looks like we might not be ready for any item that needs action, and we may not meet, but go ahead and keep it on your calendar, but go ahead and put June the 19th on definitely for the next meeting if we don't meet in May. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, approved. I never known that motion to be not acted on.